What's up? It's your boy LingoLive. This is the first episode of the Genuine Generous Gentleman podcast. Today for this episode, it's just going to be just me. Next episode, most likely, is going to be Hug Cello, or maybe they're going to come on some later episodes. It's something we've all been talking about. But I finally started it. The people have been asking for forever, and I finally decided to give y'all a podcast just to give you like a daily intake into my goofy lifestyle, the things I think about. Things will definitely get harsh. Things will definitely get real. You can ask advice. I'll give you advice. You can ask my opinion or something. I'll give you my opinion. Or I might just say some goofy shit I've been thinking about anyway. That's just that. Um, so first thing, I wanted to hop in just introducing the podcast. Introducing myself. And then above all, I wanted to get into a few topics that there's like 2-3 questions that people have asked me. And then also there's a few things that I want to discuss on. I can't naturally tell you how long that I'm going to discuss these topics. I can just let you know that, hey, we discussing these topics and we're going to dive into it from there. Right. A big thing that, I wanted to add for the first thing that I would say on this podcast is somebody asked me, what is one of the keys to success? And this was some advice that I gave somebody the other day, but learn to recalculate with the same passion as that you started with. There's going to be losses just as much as it wins. I always tell little bro, little cello, I tell Alex, I tell everybody that I really tap in with, man, that, just as much as you celebrate that victory for 48 hours, celebrate that loss for 48 hours. And I'm talking about really get out there, have fun, do your thing, cry a little bit. Men cry, we should get that over with. Cause I cry not as often just because I'm breaking some generational traumas, you know what I'm saying? Just from society. But also too, celebration is imperative in your journey. You know what I'm saying? For the wins and the losses. If we only celebrated the wins, we're never truly going to be happy with the outcomes. You're never going to be truly happy with the process, with the progress. And, sometimes taking a step back is actually grounding yourself and repositioning your body language to take that step forward. So it's very imperative that, we celebrate those losses. That was a good question that I got asked by one of the young homies. These next few topics are kind of going to blend in together with each other. Kind of what I was just saying with the one before. One thing we have to realize in life, a recent thought that I had was a no isn't always a no forever. Sometimes it's just a no for right now. I'll tell you personally with my journey as a HVAC project manager with selling like electrical and plumbing and everything too. When I first wanted to get into the HVAC business, I had plenty of sales background. So cars was very, very decent, I would say, at selling cars. Made good money at a young age, blew it just as fast. But I thought that I had the sales background to really give me leverage to get into HVAC, something that's always been like an intriguing field for me. And it was a no. It was not only a no, it was a no so bad that they didn't even respond. Like a couple companies actually viewed the resume, but didn't actually act upon it. I don't know if it was age. I put black as the race. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I put black as the race, and that might have been the held on for that. I don't know. Right. But the reason that I choose to say it was a no is because it wasn't my time. I was not ready. From doing HVAC project management, man, I was not ready to be taking that level of calls, be trying to diagnose and dive into situations, real homeowner problems that deserve solutions. I was not ready to endeavor in those waters. I was very much inexperienced, very much unknowing, and I was young-minded. Like I still wanted to, one thing about the car lot is like, if you know, you know. Hey, it's a whole lot of turning up. It's a whole lot of going up, Man, I used to leave that dealership on Friday night, hit the club, turn around, be hungover as hell on Saturday morning, and then turn around, still sell some cars in that motherfucker. Man, there was times, transparently sharing it, because I'm not at the car lot anymore and I don't do this anymore. Like, there was times, man, that we used to go, me and Resale, man, we used to go over there, and he wouldn't care, I'll share it, but we used to go over there to the Cluckers. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of GTA. But the cluckers and eat hot wings and get those big 35, 40 ounce beers and knock down two of them in a 30-minute span. We was like that for real. That's my essay. Shout out to the Pisces. But man, we used to go down there and bro, like one of the funniest stories I have is I got real turned up on my lunch break, came back, literally had buffalo sauce on my face. That lit. Like I was lit with the eyes low. You know, when I get turned, the eyes get low. And yes, I will be sipping a little bit of that sippage. We're not sponsored by nobody, so I'm not giving out no names yet. But if you know me, you know I be on that sippage. So man, I got so turned up, came back and sold a Forerunner straight off the front door. It had been there so fucking long that they didn't even, like, literally forgot they even had it in the stock. We needed to get it out that week. I got it out that day. I was off that drink talking about, like, they like, man, I ain't come to look at no Forerunner. It was a dude who just retired. He was about to retire. You know what I'm saying? You know me, I came up with the slickness. Like, man, yeah, I know you came here for a Highlander, but look at this Forerunner, though. You know? He like, man, the grandkids. I'm like, the grandkids, that's one of the most safest vehicles right there. I was thinking about a Jeep too. A Jeep, the technology, be for real. That Forerunner, all white off-road with the peanut butter seats on the inside. Dog, if I can afford it, I would do it. And I could afford it. It was a little bit of cap, a little bit of fabrication. It wasn't lying, it was fabrication. But above all, man, this is water too. I ain't dove into it, but more of the story, man. A no isn't always a no forever. Coming from the sales experience, you cannot bring car lot tactics to a homeowner's house. Let me be the first person to tell you, you cannot do that because 90% of car lot tactics are tactics. You know, all the sales is about overcoming the objection, but fam, a car lot is so like bar, stool, brawl type of activity, bro. Like literally we used to go in the back of the building and punch it out over who gets the next up. Like it was like that. I was at one of the best Toyota dealerships in Dallas. It was like that. You know what I'm saying? But don't take that no as you're out the situation, you're out the game. You know, I had a close cousin of mine that, you know, he was testing for a specific test in a specific field that I'm not going to share because it's going to identify. But, you know, he was testing so many times and would post on Facebook about like being so let down, so discouraged because like he has so much knowledge and he's so good in this field and his trade and couldn't pass the test. But let me tell you something, like doing one thing on the day by day and facing the test is two different things, Jack. Because when you going up with that test, man, like that test is like all tests in life, the test of life itself. Like this ain't the practice or the scrimmage no more. You know, this ain't Billy Bob in the corner with a cigarette telling you that like, hey man, you killing it, dog. This is the real deal. You know, anxiety is going into this test. You trying to figure out, you know, one thing about me, man, there's times I go on a call for a diag. I literally was at one the other night, the fam. And I know you don't want to hear a professional say this, but like you go through so many tests, checking voltages, checking the resistance, going through everything that you start to question, do I even know what the hell I'm doing? Like, did I really finish school for this or was I just cute so they passed me? And that wasn't the case because my instructor was not a fan of me. Verbatim said that I was loudmouth and hard-headed. But you know me, I'm that one. But you can't get discouraged from them no's, man. And failing that test was his no. Wasn't, you know, it was from the state. But it wasn't his no like asking out a person on a date. It was a no in the formality of the level of consistency and practice needed on the written more than just the physical, the act of doing. This is something that, you know, I talk about real vigorously with some texts here recently, man, is that like a test will go into like, do you know how to really articulate the objectives that you have? What it's going to take, the level of, you know, energy, experience, materials that it's going to take. Even if it just takes 10 minutes, you cannot default my level of craft and my level of experience, technique, and perfection off of the time. You dig? You can't critique yourself off your level of experience, expertise, professionalism, your ability off of the time it takes to even be qualified to do something. Qualification is a piece of paper. Doing is being, and being is understanding and acceptance. That's who you are. You're really like that, you know. People fear confidence that they call cocky. I've been called cocky my whole life. I don't care. I'm pretty too. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't stop there on the list. You know, don't stop there. But there's a level of acceptance it really takes to within yourself, that identification that I'm really like that. It takes that level of going about the day in, day out, that like, I'm really like that for real. I'm really one of them ones. You dig what I'm saying? Um, Knowledge and experience go hand in hand, because you can have knowledge and you can't have experience. College grads get that every day. You got knowledge, but that doesn't matter when, you know what I'm saying, Billy Bob up the street, he been doing this since he was 15. He worked from the bank. Now, just because he's an MLO doesn't mean that he didn't start as the mailroom clerk. You dig? He started as the cat that was licking the envelope to send me a past due bill or an overcharge, overbalance, or the analysis of how much money I spend and how much money comes into my bank account. Yes, I got issues. I do. I got some serious problems, and it all came with that money. But that's a different topic. We're gonna get on that. But that no isn't always a no forever. Take that with a grain of salt, man. Erwin Sweeney, shout out to Unc, man. Sweeney used to always tell me, man, take this with a grain of salt. The wins and the losses, the acceptance and the denial. Take that with a grain of salt. That's part of this game, man. That is part of this game. You have to go into that situation knowing that there's going to be naysayers, there's going to be talkers, there's going to be criticism, there's going to be critique. You know, there's going to be hard days, there's going to be long days, there's going to be health risks in every field. Even tapping them buttons as a bank teller, there's health risks taking that too. There's going to be obstacles in this battle, man. You have to gear yourself to know that. Like, to go into any situation thinking it's just going to be peachy keen and, you know, whipped cream and you just going to go about it and it's going to be easy every day. That is cap. That is cap. Some say I'm great at what I do. Some say I suck. Some say I'm good. Some say I'm mediocre. Who cares? I'm the same dude every day and I know what I can go out there and do. You know what I'm saying? But that no isn't always a no, man. That grain of salt, remind yourself that in the back of your head. If you take in anything I say, take that with a grain of salt, Jack. Take that with a grain of salt. But feeding into that, there was another piece of that topic I wanted to dive into. I was just talking about it with my mom, but I've noticed, even with myself, there's so much a feeling of guilt about bad situations in life that's like, it's always our fault. You know? Me personally, man, the last year or some change, I've been living on top of the world, Jack. On top of the world. And I got such a great support system, not only financially, but spiritually, ethically, emotionally, intelligence-wise. My sister's literally a scientist, you know? And one's a hygienist. Shout out to them. But shout out to my mom. We're all successful. Glory to God, you know? But even myself, I'll give an example just to be vulnerable with you. Like, man, I was on top of the world a year and a half making crazy money. Crazy money. Literally paid in taxes last year what most people don't make in a year. Transparently. That's not flexing. That's just real truth. I'll show a W-2 and really ruffle some feathers in this motherfucker. But when I decided to transfer and up and move to Houston, man, it took everything I had. I've been not tricking off money, but man, I was giving, donating, spending, working on the old school. Like, man, I was enjoying. So I'm not doubting it. I'm not knocking it down. Like, I was living. That's the goal you should want in this world. You should want to live. Like, I can't take this with me. I came up humble as hell. Out of North Dixon. You feel me? 603 Carruthers, 1206 Bailey, 1806 Pecos, which is on the north side. Pretty good. But my cousins did their thing. Shout out to them. They like parents to me. But, man, like, I'll get so much in my head personally about, like, man, how you be on top of the world And at times you're so generous, or at times that you're so willing to say, F it, we ball, that when something hit, you don't have that follow-up financially sometimes, you know? And anyways, we're not gonna climb into that. Actually, no, I'll say it just so y'all know. So um excessive spending, no matter if you have the money or not, is actually a tie linked to depression and bipolar depression. If y'all didn't know, some of my therapists taught me. Yes, I do therapy. I think everybody should, especially people of color. That's the truth. But everybody in general should work on themselves. Shadow work is very important. My psychic in Seattle taught me that. Shout out to Erica. But there's a lot of shout outs because it's going to be happening. But why do you think we feel so bad all the time? I don't know if that's just me. Like, am I just the cuckoo? I don't know. You know, um, but why do we feel so bad about situations in life? Like we make it our fault. You know, when somebody cheats, it's our fault. You know, when life happens and money's low, we make it our fault. You know, um, and that's not the truth. It's just life. You know, you might not want to accept that. Reality is, that's life. Life is going to life, my boy. It's gonna hit something vicious too. I hate when speakers do that. When they drink some water and make that like that's not that tasty, bro. Relax. And I just hit that out because it felt good to do that. I've always wanted to, and today I got to do it. Um, I'll do that with that drink too, cause Zooey mama, that thing be hidden. Uh, that thing be hidden. That's crazy. But so yeah, no. We gotta stop that, man. We gotta stop that feeling of doubt. Like this is my fault. You know, this is, I put myself in a situation. You do. You have to realize those things. But like, when do you ever really know if something's going to hit? I tell homeowners that all the time. Like, I get it. Like, it's been working. Your system has been working. Your plumbing has been working. Electrical has been working. But I'm telling you, there's flaw in this right now. It's deteriorating. We know things in life are going to hit. And let me ask you, do things usually hit in your life when you expect it to? Like, you can know, like, man, it's been going on for 10 years. I mean, hey, I thought it was going to happen. It finally did. Like, we be having those times, but even then you didn't know. It never happens at the best time, neither. We know that for damn sure. Never happens at the best time. Never. No sirree, Bob. That thing comes and that thing runs through there like a wrecking ball. And it's not to be played with. That thing is some type of crazy. I'll tell you that much. But question number one. This is a question from a young man. My girlfriend and I have been fighting a lot recently. She says I work too much and it hits a toll on our relationship. I look up to you and I trust you, so I want to know your best advice. I appreciate that. Thank you for looking up to me. Some might tell you that you're a fool for that, but what do they know? Look where they're at. No, seriously, I appreciate that. But so your girlfriend and you have been fighting. You've been working a lot, so that's created an issue frequently recently. I would definitely say conversate about that some more. In a relationship, from my current standing, there's got to be some level of understanding on so many facets of the reality. But there's got to be levels of understanding. I don't know. Do you know why you work so much? Like, are you using work, which probably she might think, but are you using work to be away from home? If you are, dive into that within yourself, not within the conversation, but dive into that yourself about why you would be working so much. But if you're working so much because, you're just a grinder, you're a hustler, there's things you're wanting to accomplish, man, kudos to you. But, those things have to be communicated. Women are big on reassurance, bro. Definitely reassure that, like, if you out there grinding for y'all, reassure that, man. One thing about men, like, we were raised not to be, for one, emotionally intelligent, and then two, we were not raised to be transparent with anything besides angry, upset feelings. And that's an issue. That's a flaw because as men, especially young men, we need to break the generational trauma and habit of holding everything in until eventually you burst and you're just like, just get out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. I've been there before, bro. But actually dive into why you're working so much. And it's because, like, if you're a grinder, bro, you're just a grinder. Communicate those things, man. Like, and if somebody doesn't understand, yeah, I'm not going to show the label. I told you that. We're not doing no free marketing over here. Bring that bag. Anyways, I love bourbon and whiskey and cognac. Start there. Gin too. Yeah. Your nephew, big bro. Yeah. That's crazy that they was, but if I'm your nephew, your big bro, I'm off that drink. And I like that brown. I like my drink. I like my women of color. Anyways, but definitely communicate, where you're at. But one of the things I was saying, sorry, ADHD kicking in, but one of the things I was saying is, man, like, if you're a grinder and you're with somebody who wants to be laid up with you all day and you communicate these things and y'all can't find no mutual ground, no compromise, I'm sorry to tell you, little bro, I'm not going to tell you to break up, but I'm going to tell you that, like, y'all both got to start evaluating the situation about how that's even going to work. Some people want to grow, some people want to stay. They're all right with where they're at, and that's okay. That's their truth. That's where they want to be. Let them live that. But if that's not you, hey, man, it's not tuck the tail, but you need to get out of Dodge. You did. Get little on them. But yeah, man, I would definitely say start with communication, bro. Conversation rules the nation. Same way you got her is the same way you're going to keep her. You did. You got to talk right. You got to talk nice. Talk ethically. Keep your character and charisma, but at the same time, man, be vulnerable. That's one of the best advice, and so much reoccurring that it's like a message that they was doing in don't be a menace while sipping on juice in South Central. But you really have to communicate consistently, man. I don't know what it is about in a relationship. It feels like some women, when you get in the relationship, everything she did to secure that bag with you stops. But with men, for a fact, now I'm your big bro, your cousin, your nephew, hell, I might be your opposition. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you, for men, I know that typically we get in a relationship and something happens or we get used to something and we stop doing that level of courting, for one, but we stop doing that level of communication, for two, that we did before. That part that she loved about us, we stopped doing. And like at the beginning, like it might not be apparent or it might not be something too big to her yet, but I promise you, like she feels a way. That's changed up. But ask yourself, like, when it comes down to reassurance, like I initially said, like, are you still reassuring? Are you still courting her? Are you still taking her out to eat? You still holding that door? If it's raining, you throwing your jacket off and putting it over, you still walking near the street for, old school. I'm very traditional in a lot of things, but are you still doing those things? I'm not saying that you're the problem, as I was just saying that we're not always the problem. I'm just saying that you, like, also too, with not always being the problem, we also still have to live in reality. I'm very realistic. What are you doing different? Are the difference positive? Is it just about elevation? Communicate. If you're questioning, if you're fell out of love, communicate. If you're untouched, for your love language, maybe physically, I don't know. If you're untouched, ungrazed, unappreciated in your mind, communicate. Definitely start there, bro. Communication is everything. And that's something I work on myself. I'm not perfect at that. I've just gotten older. Today is my cake day. 2:15. Shout out to the real ones, the real groovesters, the real groovy men. But anyways, I've had that issue myself where my level of communication begins to lack just because as men, we make this excuse that life is different right now. I'm stressed. I'm tired. They are too. I feel like you're not as in it as you used to be. They feel the same. And these are the realities. I'm not doing no pick me. I'm just Bro, game is game. If I come up here and lie to you, yo, don't ever listen to me again. Because I conduct myself on the same level of business, Jack. If they lie, let them lie to themselves. I ain't gonna sit around and do it. But yeah, I hope I answered that. If I haven't, just reach out to me again and ask me to dive deeper on what you want me to dive deeper on. I don't know. So question number 2. How did you get to where you are now? I've heard you talk about sacrificing love and people to get where you are, but did you have to? Ooh, Jesus. Read me the filth, Jack. Anyways, sorry to use the Lord's name in vain also too. My granny would wring my neck for that. I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but I started off in cars, bro. The reason why I think I'm so successful now, to remove so much of the spiel that I'm about to do, I learned how to make my compensation meet my level of effort. And then also too, all that happened because I got into a field and a craft that I enjoy. From working on equipment, yeah, went Memphis on you. Shout out to the Walkers, man. But from working on equipment to diagnosing equipment, selling equipment, designing like systems for homes, heat load calcs, all those things. You know, I'm happy to be in the field that I'm in. Happiness has brought me so much financial gain, so much emotional gain. When I was pleased emotionally, intellectually, when I was challenged mentally every day, which is like something I'm into, my funds started to reciprocate that level of intriguement that I have with this field. And that's important, Jack. That's real important for me. But when that level of happiness, that's why they say, man, the old saying is like, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Boy, I love what I do, but I've worked some days. Jack, I'm talking about I really worked some days. You did. Like, I've gone through some things, man. I don't know if you know what a job setup is. Ordering materials, ordering materials, measurements, bro. Like, I can get into it, reading a blueprint, bro. But man, it's what I love, bro. The good and the bad. I celebrate both of them victories. You know, last year I did a certain number. This year I want to do better. Church, you know. But I got to where I was because, you know, when you talk about, you know, you're speaking on what I've spoke on Snapchat. That's always been like my podcast area is my Snapchat. Um, I when I say I've sacrificed love, I didn't entertain. Well, I have entertained, but not like I just kind of fell into the situation. But I never went looking for love. Every day I wake up, I went looking for prosperity, um, more understanding. Um, so I was willing to not date. Um, I cut up though. Anyways, I wasn't looking to date, man. I wasn't looking to love. I would tell somebody from the beginning. And it was really a letdown for a lot of women because they're like, you know, you're this type of man, you're handsome, you got your things going, like, you know, it really disappoints me. And I used to be like, girl, I do not give a DAMN. Double whammy with the exclamation point. I didn't care. There's a level of selfishness that is a necessity for the level of growth that some of us are looking for. Now, what I will say that did I have to in today's time for more experience living a certain level in life? I didn't have to sacrifice love or cut people out of my life that care for me. They just wanted to know that I was okay. They wanted to communicate. Bing, bing, bing. They wanted to communicate, and I ran from it because in my mind, I told myself I had to veer myself from other energies and other people, which you do sometimes, but I had to veer myself from the people that cared about me, not the people that wished ill, the people that only liked one side about me. I'm talking about like the people who loved them some me, that'll sit there and say, I love me some Lingo Life. They would say, I love me some Rose, some Rosie. You feel me? That's if you know me from the boys club days. You know you love some Rosie, some Teddy. You know, they used to call me Teddy when I was a kid. That's besides the point. But I pushed those people's out. Yeah. That was very yeah, of me. But yeah, I pushed those people out. I just did it again. Good God. Yeah, I took myself down through there with that bourbon last night. I'm finna get back on it too. Um, but I didn't have to. That was a great question. I didn't have to. People that actually care for me. Now, you do have to know the difference. I'm a very observant person. I notice the details. I notice people's flaws before I notice their strong suits. That's a flaw within myself. But it's also good to know those things. I'm very good at reading the room, reading energy, which makes me a lucrative asset in a sales room or a sales situation. But I didn't have to cut them off. Everything I've accomplished, bro, I could have did that and probably more. I'll admit it. I probably could have did it more. Because in current times, to have people, somebody that loves me, cherishes me, you know, that flowers me and waters me and even love bombs me, bro, is so influential in my current level of balance and success. Balance and success, man, are sometimes parallel, but sometimes they're intersected. You know what I'm saying? Most times they're intersected, bro. Like, it's one thing to be successful, but if you don't have the time or the mental freedom, the conscious energy to really express yourself and reap the fruits of your labor, man, that success won't mean nothing, bro. I know some cats, man, that run warehouses and run dealerships and do all these things, man, and make so much money, and they don't have no time, and they hate their life. They hate what they do. They do it for compensation financially, not compensation organically, energetically. And that becomes an issue over time. Those cats that finally retire, and everybody retires and say like, man, I couldn't go back and do this again. No, like they'll tell you like, man, I wouldn't go back and do that again to my worst enemy. Why? Man, I hated it, but I had a family. That's one thing about men. We'll dive into that in a second. But you don't have to cut people off. You don't have to get rid of that woman. You don't have to not ask out that woman. Be strategic. Be vulnerable. Communicate. Don't be combative. But you don't have to cut people off like I prior thought you did. You know, that was younger lingo. Younger Rosie, whatever you want to know me as. You know? You don't have to cut those people off, man. The most beautiful thing in this life that I felt is helping somebody else and pulling people up with you. It's no longer about me making it. In my eyes, I have made it. I'm in a great career. I'll be able to work this career until the wheels fall off in my life, Jack. Whenever that final bell rings, I'll still be in this field some form or fashion. I promise you. Robots can't work on HVAC and they damn sure can't sell them. I know that much. That's why never mind. I'm not going to climb into that because that's talking about one of our competitors. But anyways, you don't have to sacrifice people like I thought before. You will have to sacrifice some things. Time is a huge sacrifice. Time is a huge, huge imperative sacrifice typically. No entrepreneur. So many people say that I ought to work for myself because you don't want to put in a 50-hour work week for $25, $30 hourly. Jack, when you on a certain level, like project management is basically being an entrepreneur under somebody else's business license with their name, but it's still your business. And with, working for yourself, fam, you talk about free time. That don't exist with you no more, Jack. That don't exist no more. Can you have some offsetting times and, can you have some resetting times and some vacation? Oh, of course. Seek and reap the fruits of your labor. My advice, no matter how old you are. But you don't have to sacrifice love and people like I thought before. Man, love is the only thing that's going to get you through so many of these downsides and turns of this world and this universe, bro. You do not have to sacrifice love to get where you want to be. A man that finds a good woman found a great thing. That's in the Holy Scripture, you know? And I agree. A good woman, at the least, will push a man to be better in different ways that he could have never fathomed. That level of consistency. A man needs purpose. And to have purpose, you first have to have the intention to be purposeful. You know, you might say that you want to find your purpose, but do you really? You know, I heard a story about a dude who was, hooked off drugs, was an alcoholic, and, instead of robbing somebody, he chose to walk to an interview, and his life changed. You have to be intentional in this road to success. But being intentional doesn't mean that you have to be single, that you have to close yourself out from your family or the rest of the world. That's not the case. No. And yes, I have a bonnet on. I know you've probably been wondering about this for almost 40 minutes now. Yes, I'm in the comfort of my home. I wear bonnets. I'm not scared of it. I'm comfortable in my sexuality. You feel me? Sure. Don't let that hair curl up under that thing. I don't want that do-rag knocking down my hair. Waves is cool, but I want them curls to curl up on him. I've been in that gym too. Curls for the girls. Anyways, okay. Last question, for this episode, but question for the girls. How can we know a good man when we see one? I'm tired of playing with these bum child. I always tell my homegirls, I can't tell you where to find no good man because I don't like men, but I can tell you what some attributes of a good man is in my perspective, because I don't do nothing but hang with good men. I don't hang with bums, that's important. I'm gonna share something real quick. One of the older brothers, I love talking to people. Y'all know that, but an older brother at the gym one time, he was talking to me and we talked about stocks and bonds. And, he was always like, man, you so intelligent. And I asked him one day about big single at this time. I'm like, man, hey, old school, like, where do I find a good woman? Like, you talked about your wife, so many steps in his route to success. This man was homeless and this woman gave him a place to stay. Fellas, keep those. Now, do your part. Don't just stay a bum, but keep that woman. That woman right there is a woman. You feel me? Feminine and genuine. That's what you want. But as long as you're being a genuine, generous gentleman. That's the podcast name. But anyways, he told me, he said, and he called me young blood, which I felt the way about. But he said, say young blood. He was like, y'all's generation came up so hard that our mamas beat into us so hard what type of man we were supposed to be for a woman. That's the daddy's job. No, I got that twisted. No, yeah, I got it right. That's the daddy's job, to teach you the man you're supposed to be entirely. Not just for a woman, but entirely. It's a woman's job to teach her son where to find that good woman. You did? That probably done stumped a few of you. Stop looking in that club for that woman, boy. She not there. She might be, but it ain't never worked for me. I done found cuckoos up in that thing. Bad as hell, but some cuckoos. How can you know a good man when you see one? I'll tell you, in my perspective, women look over good men every day. Every day. That good man, though, the reason why y'all look over him, because he not hood no more, or he was never hood. He's not some, and I'm not talking bad about dreadheads, but he's not that stereotypical what y'all look for on social media, like that dreadhead with no job that sells kush, doesn't wash his ass, wants to drive your car around with your girly AKA plates and shit like that. Like, he's not that, so you overlook him. That man with that level of decree, that man with that level of knowledge, wisdom, and purpose and intention to be purposeful, to be a husband, to be a father, to be a staple in his community, a real man, y'all overlook him. Y'all don't want him because he not tricking. He not spending that 45 for your private Snapchat to subscribe to your Instagram. You know, he didn't make the cut to your private friends, your personal friends on Instagram, because when you looked on his page, all it was him wearing suits and being at business conferences and da-da-da-da. That's the problem. That God-fearing man, that man that cherishes and loves Black women, or that cherishes and loves women, treats them and understands that they're delicate creatures and that they need a real man to lead them, y'all overlook them. And then y'all get mad at the girl that didn't. You know, after it don't work out with Tay-Tay and Deontay, you know, Tay-Tay and Deontay don't get right, all of a sudden, you know, you should have messed with the James. And that's the problem. You know, when you know a good man, like, when people ask what you do, I ask it, I don't care how much money you make. I ask what you do because I want to know, do you have some passion in what you do? Are you just doing this to like do what is your passion? Okay, I like that. But like, why do you do what you do? Like, or what do you do? And people use that as like a scaling of if somebody's qualified. It's funny, man. I'll give you a true life example. I had a woman in Seattle that we was out with a certain group of friends, and she really didn't want to talk to me. She told me I was fine, all these other things. She was like, but I need my man to make X amount. He got to be a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And just because I told her I was in HVAC, she thought that wasn't me. Matter of fact, her qualification of a man financially was less than what I'd already made that year, that point in the year. It wasn't shit. It was like the 7th month. I was like, yeah, that's not me. I told my truth. Yeah, that's not me. I don't just make X amount. And then her friend told her that I made more than that, and then all of a sudden she tried to circle the block. But I don't want you after that. If you only want me for what I can provide financially, lifestyle-wise, then I don't want you for real. Like, what happened to loving me for me? You know? Not to go off on y'all. I love women, you know? Through and through. Love me some women. I was raised by women. Stand on that. Have some great male pillars in my life. Shout out to Anthony Kemp. Shout out to Malcolm Royal, Pops. Shout out to Marcelo, cuz that's like Pops. You know, shout out to Coach Freeman, Coach Johns. But you can only know a good man if you actually know the qualifications of what a good man is. And to know those qualifications, mama, you got to know yourself to a level. You got to know yourself of like, what will make you happy? Not just driving the Mercedes Benz and getting to tell your friends like, yeah, my man put me in a GLS. No, like, what is actually a good/great man for you? Do you know yourself enough? Because if you don't know yourself enough, if you're not healed enough to know these things, baby, you shouldn't be in this game. You shouldn't be looking for that. Turn and burn. TYA or CYA. You feel me? So my start would be, know what qualifications you're looking for. And don't be mad if you go out with somebody or if you start conversation with somebody and they're not on the same type of time. Don't be so let down and, like somebody said, like they say to me all the time. Well, used to. They used to say to me all the time, like, you let me down. Like, I wanted you to be X, Y, and Z so bad. Man, don't know me or remember me for anything you wanted me to be. Know me and remember me as exactly who I am or what I was. Period. Jack, I don't need nobody adding no label on me or trying to add no God clause or no, saint or sinner stat. Like, man, I don't need that patch from you, Jack. This ain't no bicycle club. You dig? But definitely advice on that. Start on you. Know what you're looking for, because then when you know what you're looking for, it's easy to narrow down. Those conversations can become longer or shorter based off of those things. They really can. That's some A1 advice from me, if you ask me. But we're talking about love, man. I get so passionate about that because being single and being in 3, 4 real relationships in my life. Look at the exes over there trying to figure out if they won. I think I was one of them. That I know I was number 2. But with I got issues, y'all. I told you. But I love doing voices of people. I can if I talk to you enough, I can mimic your voice. Um, but man, love has just got so distracted with social media, man. Social interaction. I talked about this with my mom and my dad one day when we were eating. And I said, I'm in that season of life where like I'm on some kickback, some cookout. I got a house, 3 bedrooms. One's this studio for music and for podcasts. One's the master bed, and one's the guest room. You know, boom boom cafe for the home. No, I'm kidding. No, you ain't coming to my house and knocking no little joints over here. We not doing that. But anyways, you got $20. You can rent that back room. But no, man, I miss the real one-on-one social interaction. I miss from back in the day when I was a kid riding bikes across town and shit. When mama didn't know you was at, man, you used to have to like, shawty might have been near the home phone. That's back when we had home phone, kids. I'm not talking about the ones you bring, operator, point me to the bitch. No, like, I'm talking about like, I'm so sorry. That was vulgar as hell. But I'm talking about where you used to have to, like, if shawty didn't answer her phone, I know where she live. I'm finna pull up on the bike. Me and the homies peddling on some activity. We pounding that pavement to get to that. You did. But no, you pull up on her. I remember what's good. You know? I was just seeing what she was doing. I just wanted to holler at you, whoop, 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 whoop type shit. I miss that. That's when things were more intentional. I had to ask you, I had to communicate. There's hardly any more conversation to rule this nation anymore. You know? Social media has created some influx of BS to where we think that it's not important to have these personal interactions. And I'm not talking about just pull up and, let's watch the movie, order some pizza, and we do the nasty thing, the wild thing. No, I'm talking about like wild thing. Anyways, that reminds me of Major League. But I'm talking about like I got a single partner. For example, my lady got a single friend or two. I got some single partners, man. We finna throw a little soiree at the crib. Bring some drink or something, bring a side, bring a dessert. I got the grill pumping. Come out here and put your sandals on. We the big bro and the unks now. Put your sandals on. We out there in the white beaters. Cutting up with that white towel over the shoulder like, man, Rose, I don't know if them ribs ready. Boy, look at that meat fall off that bone. That motherfucker ready. But look at that brisket right there, just smoked up, just looking like it's looking like I just want to do something to it with this fork right now. No, juice is just immaculate, just rolling down that thing like that. Anyways, let me stop. I be tripping, but I miss those level of interactions, man. It seemed like even when our moms and aunties, for the guy example, when they was going through some BS with men, they still were finding higher quality men. Like you're in settings where like we're not trying to talk over little baby playing in the background in the club with the lights flashing and my diamonds hitting and she distracted and our friends are like, girl, let's go. I know him. He's full of da-da-da. No, like this is like real interaction. Like where we got the music pumping. You make me happy. Bum, 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 bum. I'm talking about I'm on the grill looking at something like, look at my whole life over there just cutting up. She introducing her friend, hey, da-da-da-da-da. This is so-so and so-and-so. Hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'll teach you boys some games too. That's one of the things that somebody asked me to get some game on here for approaching ladies. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of, that's like I'm like Hitch, but I'm coaching you to be on the ism. Anyway, I miss those interactions. Never really got to live them like that. These kids don't do like middle school and high school parties like we used to, in there grinding and didn't know what the hell we were doing. Like, ooh, I bet she can take some. In high school, like, I bet she can take that shit. The whole time, I ain't know what the fuck I was doing, and she definitely didn't fucking neither. But, I miss that level of interaction, that interpersonal connection to like where we actually have an experience to tie meeting each other to. I hope it's not out of focusing like this the whole time, but that's besides the point. Who cares? Who cares? Shit. I miss that level because that's when things were more intentional. They were more progressive. It was about really knowing who you were. So tell me about yourself. Not no dating app. Tell me about yourself. No, I'm talking about like, so what you into? You know? Okay. Like I'm actually intrigued. Fellas, listen to understand and not respond. Let's start there. That's some game. Listen to understand and not respond. Fellas and ladies in life and with dating. But oh yeah. That's what you into? Okay, well dive into that a little bit more about that. How long you been doing that? Or like, hey, you going to school? What you doing? What you gonna use that for? Oh, that's what you're passionate about? I gotta know your passions for real. I gotta know your passions for real. I'm so big on that right now. My mom talked about that with me. Ain't nothing more attractive than somebody passionate about something, and I agree. Gang, my mama be lacing me, boy, since ever. My mama and her mama, Grandma Joy, my Nene, Shirley, that's like my mama too, but they be lacing me. But you have to be passionate, man. You have to be passionate, and you have to have the one-on-one connections, man. Like, we got to stop this idea like Cheesecake Factory ain't good enough for no date. Who is you? Like, Queen Elizabeth must have passed, God rest her soul. And then past Prince Charles, you must have thought you was next in line. Cheesecake Factory ain't good enough for you? Let me tell you something about Cheesecake Factory. With them deals and that New York cheesecake slice, girl, go on. Matter of fact, I might go hit that thing now and then swing by Dave & Buster's and put up 20 on somebody's son in there. On that little basketball shooter, because I'm like that for real. Still got them tokens on that card. But nah, I think dates should go back to like, hey, let's walk the dogs. Let's go fishing. Let's really get a one-on-one idea of each other and see if we can vibe, if we can connect, if we even mesh for real. That's my best dating advice, man. It needs to go back to some old school joint. Even if I take you to the Whataburger Taco Casa, man, like scenery and level of expense aside, man, do we connect or not? That's what we need to know. We need to know to need to grow. You dig? But yeah, man. To end out this podcast session, man, I know I did a lot of ranting and rambling. That's what y'all wanted, right? But of course, send me topics, man, for real, for real. You can send them in to beatsforlingo, beatsforlingo@gmail.com. We doing this through the conglomerate of the Bailey Street Music Group. Bailey Street Mafia. Anyways, we're doing it under the conglomerate of that. Genuine Generous Gentlemen Podcast is under the conglomerative act of Bailey Street Music Group, the entertainment organization, owned by yours truly. But anyways, you can email questions in, email thoughts in, responses in. Of course, comment questions down below. Comment those questions. I want to see them. I want to know, And I would definitely love to have some speakers come on. If you got equipment or if you got things to share, if you got some advice that you want me to read out to somebody, hey, send it in. I'll read it out and I'll speak on it too. Won't even call you an idiot for real. Might say that was crazy as hell, but we know what that is. So anyways, shout out to you. I always like to end it out with my dear friends. I hope that you're closer with yourself. I hope that you're climbing higher in the understanding of yourself. I hope that you love yourself. And I hope that somebody is telling you that they love you. Because if they don't, I'll tell you, I love you. You're family to me, and you can call me, text me anytime. Don't know when I'll get back, But if need be, I'll answer the phone when you need it most. It's a promise. God bless y'all. I love y'all. Have a great day. Get ready for next week because I'm going to be dropping like crazy. Shout out to y'all. Love you. Bye. Lingo out.